one where I start the discussion.
Want to know some more fun facts?
Isn't it awesome to see some of your favorite content creators and favorite people, honestly, that you follow here on this app, be a part of this amazing community called the Nerd Initiative?
The Nerd Initiative presents the Comic Press Podcast, hosted by JJ's Comic Stuff.
All right, what is going on, everybody? You are watching or listening to the Comic Press Podcast. My name is Jeremy, your host, aka JJ's Comic Stuff, everywhere you can find people. My guest today for this special edition episode is actually the first return interview guest I've had here on Nerd Initiative, and that is Alan Dunford. What is up, my man?
That's me.
That's you.
You never forget your second. I
Right.
think that's the is that the phrase?
I mean, it can work. It can work.
Okay.
If you guys don't know Alan, he is indie comic horror guy for sure. He's written stuff like Hocus Pocus before, but today we are not here to talk about Pocus Hocus. We are here to talk about another book, and that is Grandma Chainsaw. The covers alone should give you enough of a warning. However, let us just be nice to those sensitive to this kind of material. This episode we will be discussing horror elements that may be disturbing to some viewers / listeners. Discretion is advised for young viewers and listeners and those sensitive to topics related to the horror genre. Disclaimer by yours truly. But anyway, on top of that little warning right there, we're going to go ahead and hit you with a spoilers ahead warning first on the Comic Press. Yeah, look at that. We got to, go around there. We're going to get fancy with it eventually. We're still learning stuff. But how are you, man? It's been a while.
Dude, yeah, it's going, right? We talked whenever I came on for, was it Pocus 5? Is that what I came on for?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then we followed up with Grandma Chainsaw. And then we have a couple other things coming down in the pipeline that I'm sure we'll talk about later on in the interview. But yeah, no, other than that, things have been going great. And yeah, how's everything your way?
Good, man. We keep we keep upgrading. Like last time we saw you, we had to do this over Zoom pre-recorded and then do all the fancy editing after the fact. So this is much nicer. It's much more convenient and it's live so people can actually interact. So like right here, we've got boom, Thorstorian first here. And then
you got to include the let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So, I mean, Thorstorian's a buddy of mine. He's always good for the hype, and then Hagar's Horribles.
It's tough.
Wow, your name is hard to say, my man.
Yeah, that's a good buddy of mine, Jordan.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool, man. That's what's up. So, dude, Grandma Chainsaw.
What do you think?
Dude, I really, really liked it. Before we get too deep into that, though, for those of you people out there who do not know you, why don't you real quick introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, my name is Alan Dunford. I am the co-writer and creator of Pocus Hocus, Grandma Chainsaw, and we've done a couple other things for Bad Bug Media. Like we've done 2 short stories for them, and we're kind of just getting started. We're approaching our 2-year mark for doing all of this, and it's just crazy how fast time goes by. And yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming up, and we're just excited and having fun delivering just weird comic books to you guys.
Dude, and yeah, I mean, if you talking about weird, Grandma Chainsaw definitely hits the weird factor for me, but in a good way.
Okay. Good.
Like it's almost like a classic horror story though, in a sense at the beginning, because I mean, I guess we could just go ahead and start getting into it.
Yeah.
The group of college students in the car on a road trip. I mean, how classic can you get?
See, and it's funny because whenever we were first writing this thing, we knew we've obviously always had our beginning, middle, and end picked out. And whenever we did this thing, we're like, okay, we know what this is. The title's Grandma Chainsaw, for God's sakes, right?
Right.
So how much time do we spend on the backstory? We actually had a full fleshed out backstory for all the characters that we were going to do, and but it was going to take a lot more time than what we wanted. So we decided, hey, let's go and just cut it out, and we can deliver some of the backstory and some of who they are throughout. The 4 issues that this run is going to be, because we want to really get into it. We have our first kill in 3 pages,
Mhm.
and we wanted to really try to keep up that momentum. And again, we're trying to tell this thing in this stupid, wild story in 4 issues, and there's only so much that we can do at the beginning that we didn't want to lose too much pacing with. So yeah, like I said, yeah, it's funny because we had like 8 to 10 pages of just backstory of who these people are, their motivations and stuff, but we kind of thought it was best to just do the classic horror movie thing where they just give you as much information as you need to determine
Right.
who these people are. Are you rooting for them? Yes or no? And do you want them to live? Yes or no? And then let's just go.
Oh, because there's always those few characters, right? Like, there's always the annoying jock that you hope gets knocked off it for like, as the first person gone.
Right.
There's always, like, the girl who's gonna trip over the tree branch and get killed first, you know? There's all these classic tropes, but the group of teenagers on a road trip is, like, probably every late '90s, early 2000s horror movie
Yeah.
aficionado will
And that's
recognize
kind
this.
of like our Evil Dead nod, right?
Mhm.
That's our, you have a group of characters that are driving to a destination, and of course it's where they end up is not where they planned. So
Oh, it never is.
yeah.
I mean, especially when you're getting directions from this guy.
Mhm. Yeah, that was our Scarecrow man. He was a character that we designed to just do that, and then we quickly went ahead and just I don't even know. We didn't kill him off because that's not what you do with him. He just gets them to where they need to go, and then he just kind of evaporates in some
Yeah, he
sort of way. He
kinda
just kind of
kinda
deflates.
evaporates and
Yeah,
disintegrates,
yeah,
I've tried not to, like, show the whole book in here because I
yeah. I got
almost
you.
really wanted to, but
Oh, that's fine. You can show because yeah, we have the first 8 pages actually up on the campaign as a free view. So it was one of those things too, and you've read the first issue, and we'll get into obviously the ending of the first issue and stuff like that leading into the second. But whenever we were running the circuit and talking about it, we felt like we undersold the book because there's so much more that happens to it, and we wanted people to be surprised. We
Mhm.
didn't want people to um yeah, again, we didn't want them to expect everything. And that's what's weird about marketing your book and doing it on Kickstarter, because people can't just flip it up and look through it, right? So they
Mhm.
kind of have to take your word for what you're doing. um and we just pitched the book as, for people go, they're going on vacation, they get lost, and they end up at Grandma Hazel's doorstep. um we felt like, again, like I said, we undersold it because it just sounds like, oh, okay, so it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a grandma, but it's not. We go so many different directions with it, and especially with issue 2 we finally really get to like have a lot more fun than we did with issue 1, because we're not setting the world up, right? We get to finally
Right.
do everything that we wanted to do. And even in the preview for the first 8 pages, I don't even feel like you still get a feel for where we're going with it. So
Yeah, and then, after the, horrible choice of directions right here,
yep.
of course, what happens next? The tire blows out.
Hmm.
No GPS signal, no phone signal. And then, like you
Classic,
said,
right?
classic, yeah, no phone
Yeah.
signal. And then when the first red flag for these 4 should have been Grandma Hazel comes to the door before they even get up onto the porch.
Yeah, she's it's like she knew they were coming, right?
The table was set, dinner's almost ready. I mean, that
Hmm.
should scream red flag.
Yep. And it's funny because I was raised with my grandparents, so I was able to take a lot of those things that, for some people, they would think, "Oh, that's weird that she already has a table set waiting for him." Like, yeah, I mean that is creepy, but that is just something that the people that I grew up with, my grandparents, and I even had my great grandmother too for a little while. They would do that anyway. Like they would just cook
Right,
dinner,
yeah.
and then if they had family stop by or anything or leftovers, or they would just bring it to other people. Like that was not out of the realm of that wasn't weird to me. Just to think about that. But then it's just kind of cool just to see it like looking like that because yeah, that is on the surface it is weird, right?
And they even ask her, like, "Are you expecting company?" And she's like, "No."
Yeah, no,
The
haven't seen it. No one comes around here, you know.
Right, like, I mean, right here,
Yeah.
but sh no phone, but she's got a handyman that can come and fix it.
Yes.
Like, really?
Uh-huh.
It's always stay the night with the creepy, like,
Yeah.
it's like these kids have never seen a horror movie, and I love it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. We were trying to find a really good balancing act to not make our characters come off as too stupid or naive, right?
Mhm.
Like at the end of the day, they're just trusting.
Right, yeah.
But you obviously
Because one of
you're
them even says, "Oh, it seems like she's just a nice old lady who
mhm.
is lonely and wants company," like,
Yep.
it's like,
And that's the
"Oh,
thing,
no."
right? Yeah, like it again, uh trusting can be your downfall, right? So that was something too that we really wanted to play on. And then of course with the what you just showed right there, it was that was a really fun scene for us to write because that's kind of setting up a lot really, and it's setting up just the new versus old mentality of just different generational gaps for what someone in an older generation would perceive as being rude
Mhm.
versus what someone that's like in our age group would just perceive as just being normal.
Right, like,
Mhm.
with, right here, if, nobody else caught it, it says elbows off the table up in the
Mhm.
top right. For those listening, that's what that's like her trigger right here. This is
Yeah.
where everything starts going downhill is when, what's her name? Haley?
Yes. Yes.
Haley has her, elbows on the table, and, it seems like they almost get a pass at first,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
but then she
then
does it again.
she does it again.
Yeah, so that was really cool too because this one we finally got to play on some of the creepy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because she does that here and then, she's like, "Haley, elbows off the table." And we made it a point specifically to not have the characters introduce themselves to Hazel, but we wanted Hazel to introduce herself to them. So that's why it was so cool whenever she says Haley off the table, she's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, but," and then she kind of catches her. She's like, "Well, how did you know my name?"
Right.
And we'd never get an answer.
She just
Yeah.
says, "Dinner's over."
Yep.
That's her response, and, like, I
Yep.
would not have let that go.
Mm. Oh, but don't worry, we don't let it go. So
Oh, no, no, no.
we know kind of where we're going. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm not gonna show the first kill because I think that's, like, worthy of letting people see on their own when they read it, because it is, like, a very grotesque first kill for any horror story, like, the first
So
ones are usually pretty tame or you almost don't even see them.
yeah, that was it's funny because with that that was always the response that we received was, "Oh my god," because no one expected it to happen. And it was funny because to us, we designed it and Brian drew it, and I got to give Brian so much credit because uh, we knew what we wanted the kill to be and involve. But
Shout out Brian
Brian,
Belando. I wanna
yes,
make sure I'm
Belando,
saying
yeah,
his name correctly.
yeah, man. So we knew what we wanted the kill to be, and again, like I said, what we wanted it to involve.
Mhm.
And I remember I told Brian about it, and Brian's like, "Well, how about I just do this, this, and this?" And I was like, "That's disgusting. You twisted individual. You have to do it now." So it was one of those things where it's like, "Thank you, Brian."
Right, it's just gross enough to be awesome, right? I mean,
Right? Yeah. So
because just look at what you guys did with her, like, first, like, scary appearance, I guess
mhm.
you could say, like, cleanliness is next to godliness. I
Again,
love all these little quips that she
all
has.
all Brian, and a huge shout out obviously to Jason for bringing the coloring to life for this and to really give it that feel, and also a huge shout out to Dave because originally the cleanliness next to godliness, we didn't have anything there. We wanted just the art to speak for it,
Mhm.
but Brian, of course, with that, we were like, God, we have to put something there. And then I was talking about it with Dave whenever he's lettering the pages, and he just threw in cleanliness is next to godliness. And I was like, yeah, keep it. We can't change it. That's better than anything we could write.
Because it's just creepy enough, you
Mhm.
know, like it's not over the top. It's not like, oh, she, you know, like it would have been weird if she would have just sat there and like clicked.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, see, and that's what's cool about script writing, is because we get to write this whole thing out, and then we give it to the team. So we give it to Brian, Jason, and Dave, who are so talented, um, and they always step it up and go over the top. Like Brian pointed it out to me, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but on Hayden's shirt, our main male character, he has
Mhm.
a 74, and that's the year Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I didn't
Yeah,
even make
Brian.
that
Yeah, see, and
connection.
it's cool stuff like that that these guys do, and the work that they put in. So again, I always have to give them a huge shout out, because I know that without them, we would not have the level of creativity that we feel like this book has achieved, just because it is always a team effort, and these guys really put everything into it.
So, like, was there like a team discussion on what Hazel should look like?
Again, and this is kind of our design philosophy, because in case of you who don't know, um, so myself, my co-writer Will, Brian Belando, who does our illustrations, Jason Smith, who's our colorist, and Dave Lentz, who's our letterer and designer. We all work together on Pocus Hocus series, which is still ongoing, and they have done our short stories as well that we worked in with Bad Bug, because I just love working with these guys so much, and they come from a place just out of it's more than just a paycheck for them, right?
Right.
And it feels that way. And whenever we were working on Hazel, and I told Brian what we wanted, he gave us a rough character sketch for one of them, and this was like our first teaser, and you don't even really get to see her. She's just a silhouette. And I just remember thinking, whatever he has behind that silhouette is better than anything I could have ever directed him on. So we have to
Right.
keep it that way. And then he gave us the first page of Grandma Chainsaw, and I was wholly blank. Right, so I was just like, "This is so good," and I was just, yeah, but completely blown away. I'm blown away by these guys every day, but that in particular was just like, yeah, this is it. He got the design down first try.
So why Grandma Chainsaw? Why not, you know, Uncle Chainsaw or Grandpa Chainsaw or Auntie
What
Chainsaw or
Because when it comes to this stuff, you want to always try to throw together two things that shouldn't be together, right? You want to throw together a feeling of happy and then a feeling of dread. So
okay.
you have your grandma. Stereotypically, a grandma is like, oh, sweet little grandma. She makes you cookies and stuff like that. We're rolling with that. Granted, we know there are some awful grandmas out there, but we don't want to take away from the good grandmas, right?
Right.
But yeah, so we whenever you first think that, you think, okay, sweet old lady, cookies, stuff like that. Especially Will and I, we live in West Virginia, so we think of like the Appalachian Southern hospitality grandma, and that's
Mhm.
really what we based Hazel off of.
Lemonade and sweet tea at the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's at church every Sunday and Wednesday, right? And always
Mhm.
making sure everyone has enough, checking on her neighbors, stuff like that. And then we have chainsaw, right? And obviously the two words together is just funny. That was actually our working title that we had, was Grandma Chainsaw. And we were like, yeah, we'll think of something better as it goes on. And we were like, nah, I think this
It
this was it.
works.
But yeah, so again, like I said, we just wanted to take that, and of course, it's hard to answer the question, because it's just one of those things where it's probably somewhere deep rooted in my subconscious, right? Growing up again with my grandparents and stuff like that, and then just thinking of all the horror movies and stuff I used to watch, and they probably just blended together in some weird fever dream, and then we got Grandma Chainsaw out of that.
That's awesome.
I know it's a weird, long-winded answer to say we don't know how we got this, but we're happy we did.
It's just one of those things like, you know what? It happened. It looks good. It works. It's
Hmm.
funny. It's scary. It's perfect.
Yep. And we cannot wait to I guess to get issue 2 in everybody's hands, because we yeah, man, we go crazy on issue 2.
Now, here's a question I've got real quick.
Yeah.
Top right, that
Um,
little robotic hand coming from under the bed.
Thank
None of
you.
that is explained.
Thank you. No one
I
has asked us
noticed
about
it.
it. No one has asked us.
And I'm like, it's in 2 panels. That's it. It only
Mhm.
shows up in 2 panels that I noticed. And I'm
Yep.
like, well, what is that? They didn't even see that.
Yep. So that is a surprise for issue 2. That's a new character that we introduce.
Gotcha.
Mhm. So
Okay.
there's something
I feel
else living
proud
in
now
Hazel.
that I'm the first
Yeah.
person to ask about it.
No one has asked us about it. Because originally, whenever we did that, because that's of course accompanied by our first kill. So whenever we were doing it, I remember I was talking to Brian about it, and Brian designed something, and I'm not going to give it away. And I was totally blown away by his drawings. Like, and I can honestly say this: I'm so lucky to work with Brian because I'm a fan of Brian. So it's really cool to be able to work with someone who, uh, I try not to look at it as like, oh, he's making a story that I helped come up with.
Mhm.
But instead, I'm looking at it like, man, this guy's incredible. I want to keep trying to play to his strengths, right? And to see if I can push him further. Right. But then he'll
Right.
come out with these just quick whips of like he's just, trying to do warm ups and stuff. And I'm just like, God,
Yeah.
like this is so good, man. So he had this character design that he did, and originally that hand was actually supposed to be Hazel's reaching up for them,
Ah, okay.
because it was kind of like Hazel could be anywhere, right?
Right.
So we changed it because after we wrote the script and went back and reread it, and I saw how Brian was drawing everything, I'm like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I was like, hey Brian, this character design that you had for this, are you using it for anything? And he's like, no. And I said, okay, well, I have an idea. So you'll see it in issue 2.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
so happy I'm the first person to ask about
Yeah, man. Yeah, because
that.
I think I even said that to Will. I was like, no one asked us about the hand under the bed.
I think everybody just assumed it was Hazel.
Yeah, but like
But I
again,
noticed there's like bolts in it, and I'm like,
Mhm.
wait a minute, is that like a mechanical hand? What is that?
Yeah. So and that was something else too, because you'll see how issue 2 is structured. It made sense to us to do it this way, because we needed to introduce something else to really help drive the story too for where we wanted it to go.
Gotcha. So yeah, they get taken out in pretty rapid fashion though, the first couple that go.
Yeah. um.
And this
So
one you don't even get to see. You just see something get thrown at their partner after this.
yes, you do.
So I again I'm trying to not get kicked off of YouTube and other
Yeah.
platforms. So I'm not going to show that part. But as you can
Um,
see, it's probably not pretty. You know, you just hear the crack in
See,
the background while she's getting dragged away.
yeah, we thought that was a good way to do it, because this one was a more of a tell don't show
Hmm.
type thing, where we didn't want to show the full kill happening. We wanted the confusion, the scared isolation, and then we wanted the reveal for what happened, right? And we thought that was a really cool way to do it, because originally that wasn't how that kill happened. And
Okay.
again, it's just kind of cool to see like how this stuff slowly evolves as you're doing this, because again, the team inspires me as much as I hope I inspire them whenever we're doing the screenwriting and stuff. And yeah, man, like I said, so just looking at how Brian drew everything and what he was doing, and then even actually seeing our dialogue on pages gives it a totally different feel. So then it was like, all right, cool, let's rock. And then we changed it up for that, which was pretty metal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna show it, but something just gets kind of flung out
Mhm.
at the person's partner after they're
Yeah,
taken out. So yeah, it's rather gruesome even without seeing everything about
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and again, we thought we were taking a risk, because it's like sometimes whenever you're doing like slasher stuff, right? You want to see it, right? That's why you're
Hmm.
here. You want to see every kill. You want to know what's going on, and how creative they can be. We're here for the bloodbath, right?
Right.
But with this one, we felt like it served better being in the shadows and then seeing a reveal.
I mean, it was
Um,
almost creepier that way.
that's the feeling that we were going for. But whenever we get to issue 2, Oh, we are in your face, and we can't wait, man.
Well, before you start giving us, the tease for issue
Mhm.
2, what's going on with the Dead Squad, man? Who
Okay,
who who
so
are these
so
guys?
spoiler alert. Brr, 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 brr. So this was one of those things too. Like whenever you're doing crowdfunding, it's hard because you do have to give away some of your secrets, not all but some.
Mhm.
Because it's not like they're going to a shop and flipping through it. They again they have to take it and look at your campaign page and decide, hey, this is something that you know I want to spend my hard-earned money on, right? Um, so whenever we were developing the Dead Squad, that was something that we all kept very hush hush for the book because we wanted people to read it and then see it and be like, what the hell? Like whenever it ends, right? Because the Dead Squad's only in like the last like 3 pages of the book,
Mhm.
but it felt like they were there the whole time, just because of how loud the characters are and stuff. So
Right, like they had to have been just behind a bush, right, like 10 feet
yeah,
behind,
just
10
taking
feet away from the
notes.
window,
Yeah,
just watching everything, and it's
yeah,
like, well, if they were there this whole time, why didn't they try to help?
yeah. So
Or
and we kind of explained a little bit of that at the beginning of the next issue, but what was funny is so we were writing this thing, and of course, I was talking to Will about it, and I'm telling him like, hey man, um we're at the point now where we have to figure out what are we doing. We want this to be a slasher, but what constitutes a slasher, right? How
Mhm.
many deaths do you have to have in there for it to be a slasher? And then of course our mentality is a ton. So um, we were doing this and we're like, okay, so I think we do need another group. We need our higher body count. And Will was like, "Well, we are in Appalachia, so let's try to play off of that. Let's have a group of like, I don't know, we'll just call them monster hunters, right?
Mhm.
And a bunch of like, just good old boys, pickup trucks, like they show up with like shotguns and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we were developing those characters, and then it just didn't. It's weird. It fit too well
Okay,
that it became boring. So
gotcha.
then I was like, man, let's try to one up ourselves. Let's uh let's make this group like AV club. Like, you know, I grew up playing, Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering on Friday nights and Saturday nights with me and all my friends and stuff, right? So I'm in that group. Like I love manga. Like that's what's everything's behind me is just nothing but shelves of manga and stuff. And I was like, let's just kind of poke fun at ourselves. Let's make this group like just a bunch of like weebs and stuff like that, like people that
Like, if we
LARP,
were to
right?
become monster hunters,
This
what
would
would
be
it look
us,
like? Yeah,
100%. Yeah. And
gotcha.
that, we were really making, like I said, Will and I, we were just sitting there making fun of ourselves in like just like an over the top fashion. And when we started cracking up at some of these characters and how they interacted with each other, we're like, yeah, this is it. These are the characters that we have to do. And we're first introduced to the leader of the Dead Squad, which is Fury Chan,
Mhm.
and he is one of those guys that just thinks that he is so smart and he's just above everybody else, one step ahead. And
For those
uh,
viewing, that's the guy with the,
Fedora.
very worn fedora hat on.
Yeah. So whenever we were writing him, we were cracking up just at all, like, because we wanted him just to be terrible, right?
Right.
We wanted him to be a misogynist. We wanted him to like, not have any social awareness around
Oh,
him because
the
yeah,
old-timey English speak
yes,
was great.
that you have Dave Lentz to thank for all of that because
Thank you, Dave.
yeah, because we wrote him as such with just like just cringy stuff that you were reading and you'd be like, God, why would anyone ever say that? But everything he said we have taken from something else because it happens. Right.
Right.
um and then Dave was like, I'm going to make him talk like Thor, and we were like, okay, I don't care, go for it, right? So then Dave did it and we're like, this is perfect. It works so well. And then of course in there we also have Night Moon and Shadow Axe, which is that couple that everybody hates to be around because they don't stop any PDA for anybody, no matter who they are. It's like, we get it, you guys are in a relationship, right?
Right.
Stuff like that. And then
Talking
of
about
course,
we nailed our intros.
yes, yeah, it's just so like, ugh, God, because even when Shadow Axe was doing his intro, we threw Night Moon in the background. She's like, my boyfriend's so hot, like, just like we get it. You got her
It's just
together.
that one annoying
Yeah.
couple in every friend group. Yeah.
Yes, and then of course, then we have Blood Sparrow, which is just the introvert of the group. And they have like all these like huge intros and stuff, and she's just standing in a corner. She's like, "Hey," and that was it. So we wanted that dynamic too. And then our favorite intro, of course, was the introduction of Doc X and Two Ton.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, that was our Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls reference. If you've
Oh
ever
yeah,
watched
that
that,
was the vibe
yeah,
I got from it immediately.
yeah. So that was our reference to that, because of course I grew up watching those movies and stuff.
See a poor guy with the ninja star sticking out of his forehead for
Yeah.
those watching.
We just really wanted to show how incompetent these people are, and that kind of like also explains why they didn't jump in immediately, because they're also kind of selfish too, right?
Right.
Yeah, they think that they're having to be patient and figure it out, right? And it's always just so much fun just to kind of do that, so that way these characters aren't super lovable. um you want to see, you write them so awful that you want them to die.
Right.
And we really step it up with just how cringy some of the things they say and do are, and we wanted them to stand out a little bit in the world too for this.
I thought it was great though, because if you see the surviving characters' reactions here, they're like, "We're screwed.
Yeah, we're in
Like,
yeah,
if
we're gonna
this is
die.
who
Yeah.
is gonna save us, we're done." Like,
So and that was something that we really wanted to play up to, right? Is because the twins that survive, they are I mean, they're at the mercy of the dead squad now, because where else are they going to turn? You know?
right.
Um and that was again something really fun for us to write, especially going forward, just how they interact with them, especially how people interact with Fury Chan. Because he's the worst.
He
He
really
really,
is.
and then even when he's hitting on the sister, she keeps trying to tell him like, "Hey, I'm not interested," right?
Like,
And
just
then he
watch
just
two of my friends get slaughtered.
yeah, and he
Like,
just doesn't get it. He's think, "Oh, she'll come around," right?
what does he say? Me does think the lady does protest too
Yeah,
much or something
yeah,
like
Lady doth
that.
protect. Yeah, and he thinks that because they haven't even saved him, but he still feels like, you owe me something, right?
Right,
So it
right.
was just like, you at least owe me a date, and it's just like, oh, come on.
It also gave me vibes from the Lost Boys, the
Okay.
two high school vampire hunters that come to
Yes.
save everybody, but
Yeah.
except like these guys are much worse people.
Oh, yeah. These guys are like the worst group ever that would happen to show up to try to save you.
Oh, 100%. So, real quick, let's go ahead and play this review of Grandma's Chainsaw, so
Okay.
that way everybody can kind of get a quick feel for my reaction to it right after I got done reading it real quick. Boys said, elbows off the table. Grandma Chainsaw #1 by Alan Dunford and the team over at Top Hat Studios is a horror-filled thrill ride with a little dash of dark comedy sprinkled in. The story begins with a group of college students on a road trip, like most good horror stories do. After getting directions from a questionable source, they end up deep in the woods, lost in the middle of nowhere with no phone, no GPS signal. It only gets worse when the group gets a flat tire. Conveniently, they appear to have broken down in front of the only house anywhere in sight, and hoping to find a phone, they approach the door. Before they even have a chance to knock, Grandma Hazel is at the door to greet them. And something is off with Hazel. She doesn't have a phone, but she tells the group that her handyman Steve will be around in the morning and he'll be able to fix their car if they make it that long. What follows is a gore-filled slasher fest that would make Jason Voorhees himself blush. And after losing a portion of the group in rapid, brutal fashion, the survivors manage to get out of the house. And this is where the comedy starts to insert itself into the story when they run into a group calling themselves the Dead Squad, who say they are here to save the day. Grandma Chainsaw is a must read for horror fans from the same team that brought you guys Pocus Hocus. And I'll actually be interviewing Alan Dunford. All
Hey,
right,
that's me.
and yeah, that's you right there. We don't need to play the ad for the for the
Yeah.
interview. We're having the interview right now.
But no, man. Yeah, I appreciate that review so much. Thank you.
Oh, and I
Um,
don't do a lot of comic book reviews. Like if you
mhm,
look through my content, there's not a lot of reviews in there unless it's something people either like really request me to do or else I
mhm.
actually enjoy it. I'm not
Okay.
gonna have somebody on unless I enjoy their stuff. So
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, but yes, and I guess now is a good time to talk about Grandma Chainsaw number 2 and
yes, let's let's
what's
let's hear some
yeah,
stuff.
what's going on, where we're going with it, and kind of the future of the series, right? So, Grandma Chainsaw number 2 is currently live on Kickstarter. Uh, and like always, you guys have showed up. Thank you so much. We got funded within about 24 hours, which was awesome.
That's
Um,
crazy. That's
and
awesome.
then yeah, these guys have really been just stepping it up every time. And when I say these guys, I mean the supporters. So thank you so much, because we know that you have way better things to do with your money than throw it at our stupid comic book, but you chose to do that anyway. So thank you guys. Yeah, we like I said, this is going to be a 4-issue miniseries, and we never wanted to overstay our welcome. And I always like to use this joke, but we never wanted a Jason Goes to Manhattan situation, right?
Ah,
Where we don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to milk this thing for all it's worth, right?
mhm.
So we feel like it's a good compact 4-issue mini, and if we ever need to branch off or do anything else, I'm sure we could think of something, right? Um, oh well, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you, man. Um, but I think that we've made some good decisions with it, and I love everything that we've done. But all the people who have contributed to this from a creative aspect, these covers for this campaign turned out incredible too.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't have pictures of all of them because I want people to go over to the Kickstarter and actually look at all the covers that are available
Mhm.
because some of these are really, really tempting my wallet.
Yeah, so what you're seeing right now, if you're watching this live, these are the covers from issue 1. And issue number 2's covers, like it's so cool because we really wanted to take the variants of them and really try to drive home how different every cover is, right? So for issue 2 we actually have a manga cover, and yeah, that's the one
Which
that Jay
actually
just wrote.
looks really great. I
Yeah,
love that cover.
that's Kit Wallace. He's done work for us ever since we started with Pocus One. So huge shout out to Kit. Um, yeah, so we have that one. Of course, we have the main cover, and then Ruben Mocho, who threw together such an awesome, like graphic of just the blood flying up from Hazel's face because he did it like she was in action, and chef's kiss to Ruben on that one. He's always so creative and innovative. And then we have Sajad Shah, whose cover is just incredible, and that one was the one that we actually used for our graphic, just because it was just a good, black. It was clean image, even though there's blood all over it, but it
Right,
just
right,
kind of
right.
like it gave you the feel of, oh, okay, this is what it is, right? So it was just something so good. Oh, and then I got my cat in here. I don't know if you can hear it or not.
I
I got
can. I
both
could I
cats.
could see part of
Oh my
him
god.
back there.
Yeah, that's Sully, and then I got Athena on my lap. They just they're just feeling it today. They knew that I was interviewing with you, and they just had to be here, didn't they?
Well, hey, they're more than welcome.
Yeah.
That's just fine here on the
Yeah.
comic press. We
Yeah.
don't mind pets.
Yeah,
So
I'll give Sully a headset. He's really good at interviews.
see, there you go.
Yeah.
Just what you need to do is just let him be the spokesman.
Oh yeah, I know. We'd probably make a lot more money.
Right, just
Just
see
like
go to a con and just have him sitting at the booth with a sign
yeah.
in front that says "Buy my comics" and just make it look like it's his comic book. You'll sell out, man.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah. It's like, what was your inspiration for this? And he'd be like, wet food. I'm like, okay, I feel you.
Boom, there you
Yeah.
go. Like, and with
um,
some of the scenes in the book, it kind of makes sense.
yeah, it just made sense, wasn't it, Souls? So yeah, man. The other thing too is we show the first 6 pages on there, and this wasn't planned originally, but in issue 1, whenever we show our first kill, um, it's a blood splatter on the ground, and it splatters on I guess plastic because she didn't want to mess up her furniture.
Yeah.
So and it says Grandma Chainsaw Part 1. Well, in this one we actually have and like I said, we didn't plan for it originally, but we loved how Brian incorporated it so much that we decided, hey, let's go ahead and just do a weird chapter title for each one now going forward. And so chapter 2 or part 2 is her knitting skin in the windowsill while she's listening to these idiots, the Dead Squad, talk about their plan and what they're about to do.
Which probably will not work.
No spoilers, but it's something. So,
I could only imagine with those guys.
But yeah, so we wanted, that creepy, like, oh look, she's knitting skin, that's gross. Right.
Right.
And then we're like, okay, so what are we gonna do going forward? And the script's already finished for issue 3. And I'm excited to see how Brian does our part 3. I guess chapter page. So it's something.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so what we did with this one, like I said, it's the first 6 pages of the book, and we get to kind of see a little bit more of the Dead Squad and their understanding and the information that they have on Hazel. And yeah, so that way we get to really just go ahead and drive home. Okay, so this is the beginning, and then the next 2 pages, without giving too much away, they go into the house to try to implement their plan. And that's when, from this point forward in the series, so the rest of issue 2, all of issue 3, and all of issue 4 is just going to be pure insanity.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
I
So
can't wait.
is there a date for release on that?
For issue 3?
Or at least for the start of the Kickstarter campaign, I should say, for it.
Yeah, so our next campaign that we're doing is, if you're a fan of Pocus Hocus, or have even seen some of the other stuff that we've done, it's Horus and Hell. So it's going to be the complete issue of Horus and Hell. So it's the first issue in that mini series.
Okay, I think you sent me a cover for that a while back.
Yeah, I did. It's gnarly. So that is going to be, like I said, our next one. That one is going to be drawn by Kit Wallace, who did the manga variant cover and who's done all the variant covers for us. And honestly, man, without Kit, Horus would never have been where he was, because we originally wrote Horus with really just showing up one time, and Kit drew him on a variant cover, and we were like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like we have to use Horus. It's so stupid and such an easy idea. Why didn't we think of it? Right. So it just felt right to do a really demented Saturday morning cartoon. And I actually just went ahead and sent you the cover to your Twitter.
Okay, awesome.
So we can kind of get like a little live reaction for what the new main cover will look like.
Oh wow, okay.
Are you ready?
Give me just a second here. Let me see if I can share my screen with everybody.
Oh, don't show it yet. Don't show it yet.
Don't show it yet? Okay.
No. We're gonna save that for our Substack whenever we got
got you. That. But I like that.
Yeah, that's kind of gnarly, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it kind of gives off slightly like Spawn vibes.
I know, right? Yeah, so it's Horus and Hell is gonna, like I said, demented Saturday morning cartoon. So we have that, and then we're looking to, we're always forward thinking and trying to figure out what's the best move is. So we're talking with the Top Hat team right now to see what we want to do next. So it's either going to be Pocus 6 or Grandma 3. So right after the Horus campaign, we'll be a little bit more geared and more comfortable, ready to go ahead and announce the next thing that we're doing, because we're always working ahead. Which I feel like is good, because if we ever have a lull in production or anything like that, or if, we're falling behind as what we're supposed to be doing as writers, then we're always okay. And Brian's always a machine, and so is Jason and Dave. So these guys are always one step ahead of us. I feel like the book's already drawn before we even hand them a script.
Like we know what you're going to tell us to do.
Yeah,
just don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and just draw it out. It'll be fine, I promise. But yeah, so. Again, like I said, we have Horus and Hell coming up, and then we'll be doing Grandma 3 or Pocus 6. Our knee-jerk reaction is like, let's go ahead and just crank out Grandma 3 and 4 just to go ahead and tell the story, because we're so excited for everyone to see the ending. But we also have our fans of Pocus that are really into this too. So we want to make sure we're taking care of those people, because we have such a fun story to keep telling with Pocus, because we already have it mapped out so far in advance too, that we can't wait for you guys to see the ending of this arc, because we think everyone's going to be really surprised about where it's going.
Heck yeah, man. So is there anything else before we get out of here that you want to plug or?
No, like always, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for having us on, or
Oh
us.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
me and my cats, or me and my three voices in my head, right? So yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, and all the love and support that you and your network has shown has just been absolutely incredible, man. Like more than I can ever say. So
Well,
yeah,
when we find something we enjoy, we like to put some backing behind it if we can, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah, and it's again like being indie is hard, because there's only so much reach that you have, and then
mhm.
even the group, I reached out to them and I didn't know that they were. You also knew them as crossover
Crossover,
comics.
yeah.
Yeah, small world, right? So
Yeah,
those.
those guys I started up.
Oh, you got muted. I don't know if it was me or you. Oh, we got you back.
We good? We good?
We good. We
All
good.
right, I think I hit a button or something. But
Yep.
anyway, no, it was me and four guys that started Crossover Comics a long
Oh,
time
okay.
ago when we all first got on social media and stuff.
Hmm.
So it started off as just like, another one of those groups where you're just kind of hanging out and trying to help each other make content. And then everybody started little podcasts, and then I joined
Yeah.
up with Nerd Initiative, and it's just kind of grown and grown and grown.
Yeah, man, those guys have been absolutely incredible. So a huge shout out to them, especially Bailey was the first one to actually reach out. So again, just thank you guys so much.
Bailey's Nerd Den, shout out Bailey's Nerd Den.
Yeah, man, and of course, thank you to the Top Hat team for always taking on the stupid ideas that myself and Will come up with, and you for some reason they don't say no, especially with some of the future stuff that we have coming up, and it's I wish they would tell me no, because it's getting to the point where we're throwing out these like wild ideas. I'm like, oh god, they're gonna hate this, and they're like, yeah, this sounds awesome. I'm like, crap. That
Now
means
we
we
have
got
to
to keep.
figure out how to do this.
Yeah, now we got to keep going. And then of course, shout out to Jordan, Jay, Triangle of Truth, all you guys, and just anyone that has ever given us the time of day to even just click on the campaign and look through it, or just to share it out. And of course all the people that have given us their hard-earned money, thank you guys, because you're really helping this dream become a reality, and we couldn't do it without you. And it's a weird feeling to have people that actually like and support your hobby, and it's pretty surreal. So I always want to get those. That's the most important people, right? Or the people that have supported us from the beginning. So thank you.
And if you guys want to help support Grandma Chainsaw, here's the place to do it right here. You can either scan that QR code and it'll take you straight to their Kickstarter campaign, or you can just look up their Kickstarter on Kickstarter's website.
Mhm.
Grandma Chainsaw number 1 and 2 on there, I believe it's still.
Yeah. So we always try to build our Kickstarters for fans new and old. And I saw Joey's in here for Geek Collective. So thank you, Joey, for building our campaigns and for doing all the legwork and pushing it out that way. Yeah, because we always try to develop the campaigns to be user friendly for one, and to always cater again to fans new and old. So if you missed a campaign, you're not strong armed into waiting for another campaign, or having to buy like an outrageous tier just to get like you missed Pocus 3. Right. So you want
Right.
to, yeah. So that way everything's always an add on. We always try to do an a la carte system, so you can pretty much just build your own tier. And of course, we do bundles and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're wanting to just really get your own tier, just get what you want, which is how I would want to do it, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can always do it that way. So
And guys,
there's something on there for everybody.
they've got metal covers, they've got
Mhm.
hollow covers, they've got bundles for whole series that you can get the entire digital catalog on there, and they've got price options literally for everybody from
Yep.
$5 all the way to about what 150, 120.
Yeah, 250 for, but
250.
that's like the everything, right? That's
Right.
like if you're just a super fan of what we're doing, or if you're brand new and you're like, hey, I just want to own everything that these idiots are putting out, like that's a way to do it. And then like
And
you
there's
said,
even a retail
Mhm.
tier. So
Yep. And the other thing too that's also very exciting now that you mentioned that is Pocus Hocus #1 is going to be coming out in the shops this year. So we're super excited just to see it in there. Hopefully it does well. If not, hey, we at least made it that far. Right?
I don't think you guys have much to worry about.
Oh.
Once word gets out in the shops and like people who aren't online a lot see it and start like actually reading it, I'm telling you, like shop owners are gonna love that book.
I hope, man, and it's nerve wracking, but yeah, and then we're excited to one day see Grandma Chainsaw 2 on shelves once we get this bad boy finished. But yeah, like you were saying, we have a tier for $25. You can get our whole digital library, or for $35 you can get our whole physical library. So it's just
Which is a hell of a deal. That's what, about
so it's like
12
seven
books?
7 or 8 books
7 or 8
altogether.
books, but still for $35, that's not bad when you consider Marvel and DC are charging people $4.99, $3.99 a book. So
yeah, so we try to make it affordable, cheap, easy to get into it, and so that way you'll want to hopefully come back for more. And like you said too, again with these covers, they particularly look really good in metals and hollow foils and stuff. And Joey just let us know it is 8 books. 8 books. Okay.
8 books.
8 books.
Awesome.
Thank you, Joey.
Awesome.
Always,
See, we got our
yes.
fact checker in the chat.
Yes,
That's
Joey
good.
knows better than I do.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, guys, if you want to check out Grandma Chainsaw or Pocus Hocus, hit that QR code right there and go check out the Kickstarter campaigns and the websites for
and
Top Hat Studios.
I got to say this too. So for collectors out there, the issues that you see of Pocus Hocus, especially 1 through 4, because that's the first arc, those covers are not they're Kickstarter exclusive, so you won't see those in comic shops. So those ones are the ones that are just, again, specific to the Kickstarter, because Source Point, whenever we go out to shops, they wanted their own cover, and I get that, right? So that way now those new covers are going to be exclusive, and I can't wait for people to see those, because those guys really they understood the assignment. and they did such a good job, man.
And those are both coming out through Source Point Press, correct?
Yes, they are.
That's okay. That's cool.
Yep,
so if you guys also want to follow the artist behind all this madness, Brian Belando, his Twitter is right there at the bottom of the screen. You can follow Alan Dunford right here at Twitter as well, at the bottom of your screen showing up. My name is Jeremy, JJ's Comic Stuff, everywhere you can find me. If you don't know already, there's the link right there at the bottom of the screen again. And is there anything else you want to get off your chest before we get out of here, man?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Well, then on that note, guys, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. Before we do go, just keep in mind right here my interview schedule for the upcoming episodes. On the 14th, we've got Evan Carruthers coming in from Woven Press about his new book, Talks. We've got Zach Howard from Image Comics coming through on the 21st to discuss Moonshine Bigfoot. And airing on the 24th, Adam Matthew Smith and his graphic novel, Shadows. So make sure you guys tune in to all of that. Support Grandma Chainsaw and Alan Dunford everywhere you guys can, because he's an awesome guy with an awesome book and he deserves it.
Thank you.
So everybody be safe, be kind, and take it easy.